Can we go back to the days our beards would grow? Can you tell me why I worship the rainbow? Can somebody tell me why my cucumber's the size of a field pea? Dylan, give me the reason I wanna be a Mulvaney. Oh, the prodigal son turned daughter has finally returned to the mainstream. It is the return that no one wanted and damn sure wasn't needed. It's the return of the forgotten one. It is the return of a career that vanquished as soon as it was getting started. Yesterday morning was the immaculate return of Dylan Mulvaney. Good old Bobby D. I'm sure some of you thought Uncle Casey was lying when I said it is a flawed strategy to build the foundation of your career on a gimmick, because gimmicks are only designed to last a certain amount of time. Once time runs out, once your gimmick becomes stale, you'll be expected to maintain your career based on talent, which is a real problem for most people who base their careers on gimmicks because most of them do not have talent. If you thought that valuable piece of wisdom from Uncle KC was false, allow me to introduce you to Dylan Mulvaney, better known to friends and family as Bob Dylan Mulvaney or Bobby D. 3 years ago, Dylan Mulvaney captured mainstream interest mainly from the media with an exciting saga titled 365 Days of Girlhood. Dylan Mulvaney took viewers which were mainly under the age of 25. Bobby D took them behind the scenes on this courageous journey from man to woman. Now, to Dylan Mulvaney's credit, it was a brilliant idea, at least creatively and financially. To my knowledge, this was the first time that something like this had been documented extensively. But there was just one problem, one tiny problem. The journey was titled 365 Days of Girlhood. For 365 days, you're good to go. For 365 days, you can maintain interest. But what happens on day 366? What happens when you reach the expiration date on the gimmick and you're expected to rely on talent to maintain your audience? Instead of relying on talent, Dylan Mulvaney tried to extend the life of the gimmick. Remember the Bud Light commercial in April of 2023? Remember Dylan Mulvaney traveling to South America because America was far too oppressive? Or what about Bobby D's hit single, Days of Girlhood? Remember that classic ditty? A little ditty about Bobby Dylan, American kid growing up in the heartland. Dylan wants to be a transgender star. Bobby wants to shave that beard in the mirror of the car. The single was so popular, it was so well received on YouTube, Dylan Mulvaney had to turn off the comments. The support was so overwhelming, the positive comments were coming in at such a rapid rate, the servers of the largest video sharing platform in the world just couldn't handle the traffic. After dominating the mainstream throughout 2022, we have barely heard from Dylan Mulvaney in the past 2 or so years. Bud Light commercial, failure. Handling of the aftermath of that disaster, failure. Transitioning from documentary filmmaker on TikTok to pop princess, failure. YouTuber, failure. Dylan Mulvaney has 15,000 subscribers on YouTube and quit uploading videos 11 months ago. Good news is, Dylan Mulvaney was thoughtful enough to publicize which pronouns were proper to use. According to the YouTube bio, Dylan Mulvaney prefers she, they pronouns. Yesterday morning, they made their immaculate return on The View. Dylan Mulvaney was able to achieve the lifelong dream of every lonely woman in America. For a brief period of 60 minutes, Dylan Mulvaney became an honorary yenta. The appearance was an abject disaster for a variety of reasons, but unsurprisingly, Dylan Mulvaney was not the biggest embarrassment on The View yesterday morning. Once again, the whoopee cushion would not allow toxic flatulence from a guest to outshine her proprietary boodle breeze. And the breeze was flowing so strong yesterday morning, It melted the colors off the rainbow flag. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Link to the second channel is in the description below. Earlier this morning on the second channel, talked about the never-ending disaster in New Orleans. Derek Carr clearly wants out. Saints refuse to let him go, partly because they can't let him go. To be perfectly honest with you, I'm tired of this franchise. I could not be any less excited about the 2025 NFL season in New Orleans. I don't even know why I made myself miserable talking about this ass fire of a situation this morning. I don't know. Anyway, subscribe to the second channel. Today is a very special day. Today, very, very special. For starters, last Friday was International Women's Day, the day dedicated to men aspiring to be women. Now, I celebrated the occasion last Friday by shaving my facial whiskers and applying Just for Men. I purchased the Just for Men from the WNBA dump store so I could financially support women in need on International Women's Day. Dylan Mulvaney celebrated by releasing a new book on International Women's Day. The book was released this morning with the title Paper Doll: Notes from a Late Bloomer. It is rather ironic that Dylan Mulvaney chose to release a memoir on a day dedicated to women. It would be like the whoopee cushion releasing the Boodle Breeze on International Flower Day. Let's make all the flowers wilt on their special day. The one day of the year we celebrate flowers, and the whoopee cushion wants to serenade them with her boodle flute. Yesterday morning, Dylan Mulvaney appeared with the Yentas to promote the book and celebrate International Women's Day. As it turns out, this was the woke trifecta of celebrations because it was also Bobby D's anniversary. Well, KC, I didn't know that Dylan Mulvaney was married. Married? What the hell are you talking about? When the word anniversary is used, we're no longer talking about celebrating marriage. We're talking about the courageous day that Freddie decided to become Betty. When you hear someone talk about graduating, they're not talking about leaving high school or college and entering the real world. They're talking about the conclusion of their transition. I no longer have Frankenbeans! I no longer have Frankenbeans! Woohoo! Yes, yes, yes! During they's appearance on The View, well, KC, don't you mean there? No. Dylan Mulvaney clearly specified she/they pronouns. I'm just following the rules. Don't be mad at me for not wanting the pronoun police knocking on the door of my studio. The crime of misgendering, very, very serious. But Dylan Mulvaney was speaking with the Yentas, and the never-ending topic of transgender involvement in sports came up. It was incredibly confusing because Dylan Mulvaney has never played organized sports. I'm not sure what Dylan Mulvaney could contribute to the discussion, but to they's credit, Dylan Mulvaney did completely dodge the question, which I thought was absolutely brilliant. If you don't know about something, don't pretend you know what the hell you're talking about. Don't be a Yenta. If you do, you'll end up looking like a flattened whoopee cushion and completely humiliate yourself on national television. Watch for yourself.
Gavin Newsom said that he thinks that trans athletes competing in girls' and women's sports was deeply unfair.
The last time I played a sport, I was 6 years old, and I was on a soccer team, but I assigned myself as the nurse. So I sat with the Band-Aids. And so, in the words of Wicked, I am not that girl. But a dear friend of mine, Skylar, he is a trans athlete. His handle's Pink Manta Ray. That's someone who I really look to for guidance. I'm still like a baby trans. You know, I've only 3 years in. Tomorrow's my anniversary.
Your friend went Your friend went from female to male and is competing with other males.
Correct.
No.
Yes.
Her friend.
Her friend went from female to male and is competing with other males.
So Gavin doesn't have a problem with that.
You don't know anything about our bodies. You don't know how it works. Mm-hmm. So when you come in and you say, oh, you know, these are men, you know,
Competing against
women. You're assuming that the women are weak and just can't do anything except be here. Have you seen female athletes? They know what they're doing. God doesn't make mistakes.
No.
And the challenge is not to the trans people, it's to the people who are not trans. That's what God is looking to see, how you treat people.
First of all, did you notice how confused the ladies were? The lady that is married to the Pepperidge Farm guy, Anna Navarro, whatever the hell her name is, she was struggling with the pronouns. Your friend, he was a she and now he's a he and he's playing women's sports? No, I mean, he was a she, but now he's a he and he's playing men's sports? No, wait, he was they and they're competing at the Kentucky Derby and their horse Rising Stallion was she, but now she's them? I'm so confused! Correct me if I'm wrong here. I thought I heard Whoopi Goldberg say that God does not make mistakes. For the first time, possibly ever, I happen to be in 100% agreement with the Whoopi cushion. But then she twists that statement to fit her ideology. God doesn't make mistakes unless he assigns the incorrect gender. Why is this show still on the air? This is not hyperbole. That segment yesterday morning, it was one of the worst segments I have ever seen from a news program. We discuss CNN, MSNBC on a damn near daily basis here on the channel. But that segment on The View yesterday morning, that should be enough to cancel this garbage. Gabby Newsom, who used to be one of their pretend friends, Gabby Newsom is finding out the hard way there is no loyalty in the woke movement. Last week, Gabby tried to make himself appealing to normal people by claiming that it is unfair for men to compete athletically against women, which is something that I think everyone should be able to agree with. Everyone except the Yentas. And the thing is, they can't even explain why they disagree with it. They think all women are weak. Women can do anything men can do. Watch me crank my leg. My boodle breeze is stronger than any man's. Yeah, no shit. That's why men don't watch this show. Have you guys ever seen the movie White Chicks? When Terry Crews is on a date with one of the Wayans brothers who is dressed as the white woman, while they're at dinner, she keeps hiking the leg and releasing the breeze. The whoopee cushion was the inspiration for that scene. You know, it is going to be interesting to see how Dylan Mulvaney's book performs. If it sells 20,000, 10,000 copies, I'd be surprised. Obviously, Dylan Mulvaney will outsell Jamel Hill. Hell, you could release a book titled Table of Contents and it would outsell Smelly Jamelli. But I think this book release from Dylan Mulvaney, I think it's going to be a huge embarrassing failure. I don't see people paying $30 to read about the transition from he to she. What about you? Give me your prediction. How many copies will Dylan Mulvaney sell? Also, what the hell were the ladies on The View talking about? That was one of the worst segments of television that I have seen this year. The Yentas, I mean, they're like the gift that keeps on giving. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys later.